This is an analysis on the short story Girl by Jamaica Kincaid. And we're going to go ahead and discuss the mother figure in the story and the way she speaks, the manner in which she speaks to the daughter, as well as what her motivation is and what is she trying to achieve, what she's trying to accomplish by speaking in that manner. Okay, so let's dive right in. So the mother figure in Jamaica Kincaid's short story Girl speaks in a tone that is very commanding. Some might even say she sounds harsh, strict, but this tone is very culturally motivated. The writer herself is an Antiguan American, and if you ever hear someone from the island speaks, their tone might sound a little bit more harsh and direct than what they're actually saying. Digging in a little deeper into the Caribbean culture itself, their communication style, it's a lot more direct and authoritative than how we in America communicate. Okay, so their tone might be a little high pitched. So immediately we know we could see this in the story. Caribbean parents, especially the older generation, have a very much authoritarian parenting style, okay, where it is more strict, it's very demanding, they have high expectation. There's little to no room for negotiation, little to no warmth or like guidance, I'll hold your hand. They're expecting an unquestioning obedience from their child, okay? So, and their expectations are high. Their love, it's typically shown through action. They're feeding you, they're housing you, they're clothing you, they're sacrificing things for you, they're teaching you, and they are protecting you. And this is why the mother figure in the story starts sounding that way, because this is her role. She's not only she's from the Caribbeans, where culturally this is how they are, but we start to see why she's doing that. Okay, so based on their culture as parents, the Caribbean mother's figure's job is to prepare her child for a difficult world, and that's what the mother in Jamaica Kincaid story is basically doing. It starts off as simple directions and lessons, with her telling her daughter to wash the white clothes on Monday, the color clothes on Tuesdays, and how to cook pumpkin fritters and soaking saltfish overnight before cooking it. Basically passing down cultural recipes and kind of teaching her the way to run a household as a woman. Then the commands sounding like commands, and it starts to sound a bit harsh because she starts speaking from a place of prevention, not warmth or affection. And we never really see affection, because in the Caribbean culture, affection is communicated a lot more different than the American culture. And it's not to say that I don't love you, but it's to say that I love you so much that I cannot be soft with you, because I fear for you. I want to protect you from this world. And this is why she speaks to her daughter in that manner, because she wants to protect her daughter from society, from bad experience, and later down the line in this video you see from the slut that she's so bent on becoming. So the mother figure displays the authoritarian trait, but psychologically in the short story, she's operating from like a place of fear, prevention, projection, and, cultural preservation, and not just control. Okay, so let's get into her motivation. So we understand why she's speaking in the manner that she's speaking. So let's get to her motivation and why her manner is that way. Like, let's dig into that. The manner that she speaks to the daughter is definitely driven by her culture and where she's from and how she was raised and in her parenting style, based from a culture standpoint. But her motivation The mother figure in the story is not simply teaching, but trying to prevent an outcome in which she fears, or perhaps might have lived or experienced, or even a generational curse, it sounds like, right? So, not wanting her daughter to repeat those same mistakes, and not wanting her daughter to experience certain things, wanting her daughter to stand clear of certain paths, and not having a favorable outcome in life, because every instruction she is giving is focusing on avoiding a negative outcome. And we see this even when given a simple instruction. When buying cotton to make yourself a nice blouse, be sure that it doesn't have gum on it, because that way it won't hold up after a wash. Before getting into the more serious instructions, you notice that in the beginning, it's more domestic instructions, okay? How to not ruin something. Like, this is why you soak the saltfish overnight, so it won't be too salty in the morning, right? So it's about how to fix your clothes, how to cook, and more so teaching her daughter responsibility in performing her role of cleaning and cooking correctly. But after she asks, like while she's doing this, she asks a question. Is it true that you sing Benna in Sunday school? Okay. After she asks that question, okay, and for those who don't know, Benna it's a type of music that symbolizes sexuality, rebellion, gossip, and yeah, it's kind of like taboo, especially for a young girl to sing this. So at that point, when she asks the daughter that, the idea comes to her head, and she asks the daughter that, that's when her tone changes. And it's almost like she's about, like, this question, she's now focusing on the consequences behind her daughter singing that song about sexuality, those type of songs about sexuality and things that are forbidden, especially for a young girl. So at this point, where her motivation changes from teaching her daughter self-competence and self-sufficiency, and it goes from teaching her daughter domestic household chores and cultural cooking skills, it goes from having her daughter as an apprentice to her motivation shifting and changing after that question. It changes from teaching responsibilities to a more preventative tone, okay? Almost like a psychological shift where she begins to speak from a place of fear, especially when you understand the consequences behind singing such provocative songs. She's looking to protect and keep her daughter safe from judgment of people, especially in the church, judgment of others, especially women, girls. People in the church always look at their behaviors. So, of course, singing Benna would be frowned upon. Eating with your mouth open means no home training. The way you walk, even as a young girl, it could be sexualized. Okay, church people are often perceived as the most judgmental, and they're always watching. So that reference on how she walks, especially on Sunday, is directly, I feel, tied into how the world and the people view her, and for her daughter to be self-aware. Okay, the mother's motivation at this point is to prevent the world from judging her. One of her motivation at this point is to prevent the world from judging her daughter and criticizing her from things that she may even be unaware of. And that opened the door for the mother to see all the danger that can cross her daughter's path. Okay, so she goes on and said, you mustn't talk to rat boys, not even to give direction. Again, an underlying feeling of protection. It is a way of telling her daughter to be safe. Rough boys or bad boys, criminals. She doesn't even want her to be associated with them in any way. So protecting her reputation. Her instruction now becomes focused on reputation, social judgment, sexuality, men. So she starts to tie in her instructions with everything that she doesn't want her daughter to become. She's hoping to achieve this by using the word slut as a shaming tool to prevent her daughter from making bad choices and for her to be self-aware. Okay? The name calling of slut repeatedly over and over again reveals mom's greatest fear. And it is disguised in criticism. Okay? It's described in criticism where if I embed this in your brain, you'll know what to avoid. Because she's hoping to achieve the opposite for her daughter. And maybe if she keeps saying it this way and makes her daughter feel shameful, where she is more self-aware with things as simple as the way she walks, the daughter could perhaps go a different direction. Because when you shame someone, what do? They want to do the opposite, right? Also, think about, one of the things that I think about is the daughter's age. This is an age where the body is developing. There's changes in her body. Okay. I think your daughter might be like 11 or 12 around that time. So even something as the way she walked can be seen as promiscuous, even though it's seemingly innocent. The mothers in others' eyes see something different. A child, that's not where a child's mind is going. So she's tying in lessons that she was originally giving with the things that she fears most. She says, this is how you hem a dress when you see the hem coming down. So to prevent yourself from looking like the slut I know you are so bent on becoming. Okay, she's projecting. She wants the daughter to be aware that the way she carries herself, whether it's the way she's walking or dressing, she doesn't want society to judge, criticize, or label her. Okay? The fact that she says, I know you are so bent on becoming, it's her projecting. It's her projecting her deepest fears onto her daughter and panicking as she's watching her daughter changing, perhaps experiencing puberty. Her body might be overly developed. Again, it's protection from how the world sees a young girl at that age where they don't see themselves. Another quote from the story. This is how you behave in the presence of men who don't know you very well. This way, they won't recognize immediately the slut I have warned you against becoming. Again, this is the mother's overprotectiveness, her greatest fears for her daughter, not wanting her to be exploited or put into a bad situation. So this is her motivation to keep her daughter safe. This is how you smile to someone you don't like very much. This is how you smile to someone you don't like at all. This is how you smile to someone you like completely. One of my personal favorite instructions by the mom, where she is teaching the daughter emotional control, and this is important, especially in the Caribbean culture where emotions are never overly expressed. So it shows that even at a young age, the parent is teaching the child to refrain from expressing their emotions and feelings openly to a place where a point where it's socially acceptable in that Caribbean community that are not overly expressive. Okay, being polite and respectable, even when you don't want to. This is just how you behave in that community. This is the proper way to behave in that community. So the mother figure is trying to achieve a sense of social survival, and especially within that Caribbean society. Okay? So what she's trying to achieve is not to control her daughter for the sake of controlling her, but it's protection, correction, and preparation for the world. Her love is expressed with strictness in order to protect her daughter rather than warmth. okay, to really embed these lessons onto her. And the mother figure does something else. She shifts her motivation to teaching the daughter how to recognize a bad situation, standing clear of danger. She teaches her how to get out of a bad situation. Okay, so there's a quote there. This is how to love a man. And if this doesn't work, there are other ways. And if they don't work, don't feel too bad about giving up. So basically, don't feel bad when things don't work out. I'm going to continue. This is how you catch a fish. And this is how you catch a fish. And this is how you throw it back if you don't like it. That statement proves that in the end, she wants happiness for the daughter. She wants the daughter to be satisfied with her life. You ever heard of the expression of there's plenty of fishes in the sea? So the fish can symbolize a man, teaching her daughter how to attract a man, how to keep a man, and not settle. Throw it back if you don't like it. It's okay. And if it doesn't work out, in the other quote, if it doesn't work out, don't feel too bad about it. So it's okay. If you don't like something, you shouldn't settle. In a sense, it's letting her daughter know that it's okay to walk away from a relationship if you're unhappy. If you're unhappy with it, and not to dwell on the past, not to dwell on it. So she wants the daughter to be satisfied. She doesn't want the daughter to settle. And she wants the daughter to find happiness at the end. So this is where her motivation kind of switches a little bit. Okay? She also recognizes that some things are unavoidable. The daughter is going to make mistakes. Okay? She's going to make mistakes sometimes. Nobody's perfect. So as a mom, let me teach you how to climb out of a situation and fix a problem if you stumble and fall. In the quote, this is how to make good medicine. So she ties it in with a regular instruction. This is how to make good medicine for a cold. This is how to make a good medicine to throw away a child before it even becomes a child. So it's not so much abortion per se medically, but in culture tradition, herbal tradition, teaching her daughter how to get rid of something if something was to happen. Okay, so the mother recognizes that things happen, and she wants her daughter to be able to climb herself out of a bad situation. So she's teaching her daughter how to, abort. Before questioning her daughter about singing Bina, the mother's motivation was more educational on household chores and responsibility and passing down cultural traditions. Then her motivation not only shifts to more of a correcting and protecting state, it also switches to how do you get out of a situation and how you get out of trouble state, like I want you to be happy. Okay, so a lot of it is focused on sexuality, reputation, and just being able to survive in this world. Okay, the mother speaks in a tone, the mother speaks this way and in this tone and in this manner because it's her expression of love in the end. In the end, it's her expression of love. See how she also wants the daughter to be happy. So it's not all harsh. It's an expression of love and concern. From the Caribbean cultural perspective, again, love is demonstrated through protection, through sacrifice, teaching and disciplining and preparation for the world. Okay, rather than verbal expression of I love yous. It's correcting behaviors and warnings of dangers rather than offering reinsurance like we do in the American culture. We see her become indifferent throughout the story and having become with the daughter heading down a wrong path, and with the start of it all singing Bina, because that's where it all started, right? She didn't want her to damage her reputation. So every lesson is a desire to either protect her daughter from judgment or hardship, or are, in the end, regret, but she also teaches how to get out of bad situations and be happy. I don't want you to regret anything. I don't want you to settle. Because maybe mom's made mistakes and regrets a few things from the past and understands that the world is an unforgiving place. She's seen a lot of things in her lifetime and she just wants to pass it down to her daughter. So she really wants the best for her daughter at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up because if I go on if I go on any longer, because there's a lot to touch to really discuss. But I want to end with, in the end, the quote where the mother tells the daughter, always squeeze bread and make sure it's fresh. The author replies, but what if the baker won't let me feel the bread? So the mother response is, you mean to tell? And the mother's response, which is a little funny to me, you mean to tell me that after all, you are going to be the kind of woman who the baker won't let touch the bread? Meaning, after all of this instruction that I have told you, you ought to be the kind of woman that the baker would let touch the bread. You have to be, you will not be rejected. Okay, so it means to tell you, like, the whole story is kind of like a outline of how to be a woman, how to survive, how to be accepted in society rather than rejected in society. So it's kind of like a instruction manual on womanhood in their culture. And it's basically like, yeah, it's basically an instruction manual. It's basically an instruction manual on how to be a woman. There's no way you will fail. If you follow all of this instruction, there is absolutely no way you will fail. There is absolutely that after all that I've taught you, that you will become the type of woman that the baker's not gonna allow to touch the bread. Thank you for watching.